A track that cooks tires like a skillet in July, where drivers fight not just rivals, but rising temperatures under their wheels. And yet, McLaren, flawless. While others were sliding, skidding, suffering, they glided lap after lap. Calm, consistent, untouchable. Victory wasn't just theirs, it was clinical. That weekend wasn't just a win, it was a statement. McLaren had found something invisible, but unstoppable. And that's when the whispers began. Act 2, theories, myths, and madness. Inside the paddock, speculation ignited like a spark in dry leaves. Was it tire voodoo? Water injection systems? Secret cooling fluids? Even phase change materials? Exotic tech that melts and solidifies to absorb heat were being floated as real possibilities. And when Red Bull pointed thermal cameras at McLaren's brake ducts and saw cold zones where heat should have been, it only fueled the fire. They're doing something illegal. No, something genius. Maybe even both. Multiple FIA inspections followed. Miami, Imola, post-race probes, but time and again, McLaren passed. Legal? Yes. Simple? Absolutely not. Because while the world looked at the tires, the real secret was hiding somewhere else. Act 3, the front that wouldn't fall under heavy braking. Every F1 car does one thing: dive. It's physics. The weight shifts forward, the nose drops, the rear lifts. It's part of the rhythm, part of the dance of corner entry. But McLaren's car, it didn't dive, or barely did. Flat, firm, unmoved, their front stayed level. The aerodynamic floor, also the beating heart of downforce in a modern F1 car, remained in its sweet spot. While others disrupted their underfloors under braking, McLaren's platform stayed stable. And that, in today's era of ground effect cars, is everything. What they built wasn't just a suspension, it was a fortress, a weapon, a way to lock in speed where others lost it. And it all came down to one thing: extreme anti-dive geometry. Act 4, the anti-dive revolution. In Formula One, downforce isn't just made by wings anymore. It's sucked from beneath, from sculpted floors that act like upside-down aircraft wings. But this magic only works if the car stays flat. If the floor scrapes or lifts, the suction breaks, and performance crashes. So how do you stop a car from diving under braking? McLaren found the answer. They didn't stop the forces, they rerouted them. Through geometry, through physics, through anti-dive. Instead of letting the nose compress via soft suspension, they changed how the suspension arms were mounted, moving pickup points in ways no other team dared. The result? A wishbone structure that channels braking loads directly into the chassis, bypassing the springs almost entirely. In technical terms, near 100% anti-dive. In racing terms, a car that doesn't flinch, even under the hardest deceleration. The nose doesn't bow, the floor doesn't shift, the airflow doesn't break. It's like driving a bullet on rails. And it's not just clever, it's evolutionary. Act 5, history repeats itself. Differently. This isn't the first time a team tried to fight suspension movement with geometry. Back in the wild 80s, teams like Williams and Lotus experimented with solid suspension in twin chassis cars, all in pursuit of keeping the underfloor glued to the ground. The Lotus Type 88, a legend, banned for being too clever. But McLaren didn't copy the past, they learned from it. And instead of building rigid frames, they created controlled defiance. Their system doesn't resist all movement, just the kind that kills aerodynamics. It's not just anti-dive, it's anti-instability, a form of passive active suspension, done purely with old-school engineering and precision mounting. And yet, brilliance has a price. Ace D6, when field fights performance. The car was fast, no doubt, but for Lando Norris, it felt wrong. He described it like being disconnected, like driving blindfolded, with no feedback from the front tires, no sense of bite, no feel at the edge. Because when a car dives, even just a little, it talks to the driver. And when it doesn't, it goes silent. McLaren had engineered a car that whispered to the wind, but left its own driver in the dark. So what did they do? They split the difference. They built two slightly different cars, one for Lando, one for Oscar. For Norris, a re-angled upper wishbone, modified kingpin geometry, subtle changes to restore feel without throwing away the platform. For Piastri, the original raw, numb speed machine, optimized for maximum aero consistency. Two philosophies, two preferences, same machine, different relationships, and somehow both worked. Act 7, the real advantage, heat, tires, and time. In Formula One, pace wins qualifying, but tire life wins races. And McLaren, they've quietly become tire whisperers, especially on circuits where rubber melts faster than ice in Bahrain. Why? Because a car that stays flat, a car that doesn't dive or shift wildly under braking, doesn't spike its tire loads. No harsh load transfers, no sudden heat surges, no overcooking the rubber. Instead, their car applies pressure smoothly, predictably. The tire temperature stays within that razor-thin golden window where grip peaks and degradation slows. It's like cooking with a steady flame instead of flare-ups. And over a 70-lap race, that stability can mean seconds or even victory. Other teams bounce, heat up, fall off. McLaren glides. Not because they're preserving energy, but because their car preserves itself. Act 8. The future they've already built. McLaren didn't invent anti-dive, but they perfected it in a way that matters now. In this ground effect era, where the floor is king and platform control is religion, what they've done isn't a gimmick. It's not a trick. It's a quiet revolution. While rivals chase horsepower or straight-line speed, McLaren redefined how the chassis talks to the air beneath it and how it shields its tires from their own destruction. And even when the FIA poked, prodded, and peeled back the carbon fiber, they found nothing illegal, just brilliance, and perhaps the blueprint for what's coming next. Because in Formula One, true innovation isn't loud. It's silent, subtle. It doesn't dive. And while others chase grip in obvious ways, McLaren stays flat and flies past.